This is an overview of the AutoBidder logic page. So in this video, I'm just going to go through step by step and explain what each of these features does. I'm not going to go through and show an example too much because there's pretty much each of these options have their own examples, but this is just kind of a quick overview and intro to the logic page. So first you've got a progress guide. This is just a bar that shows across the top of the form that shows the customer how much of the form they've completed. Next, you've got the booking feature. Very, self-explanatory. That just allows your customers to book once they've completed the form. Now, you do have to make sure that you set up your schedule inside of your calendar if you want this to be enabled. And that's another step too. It's pretty easy, but you just got to confirm that. Next is enable the service cart. This is a useful feature if customers select multiple services. Let's say they select house washing, roof cleaning, gutter cleaning. Let's say roof cleaning is too much, but they want to book the house and the gutters. They could select house and gutters, add it to cart basically, and then move on to the next step without roof cleaning. So that's how enable service cart would work. Auto expand and collapse services. This just improves the UI a little bit. So let's say a customer selects multiple services again. Instead of having all the question blocks show all the questions, which, could be 5 questions each. If they select 3 services, that's 15 questions. It'll collapse the other services until they finished. So they'll go step by step, finish house washing, that'll collapse, show roof cleaning, that'll collapse, and then show gutter cleaning. Route optimization. This basically allows you, this ties into the booking. If a customer goes through your calendar, they decide to book, they enter their address, and they cannot book a day, whatever threshold you set here. Let's say you set a threshold of 20 miles. If you have another customer booked, ideally you're going to have multiple customers booked in your calendar, they could not book a day in which someone else is booked and their mile threshold is more than whatever you set right here. Now, if there's another customer booked and they're within this threshold, let's say they're only 5 miles away, they could book that day. It's just the idea to, save money on gas, save time, don't allow customers to book that are too far apart, basically. Custom form titles. This basically is just the section that shows the title of each form, the intro section, the part where they select the services, the contact section, and then the pricing section. Then you've got a secondary button option. This is just another button that would show at the end where you could take a customer to a page that says, what next or something like that. And then it would tell them, whatever you set the what next page up to be. Prepare, make sure the water's turned on, make sure your bushes are trimmed back, whatever you want the customers to be aware of. Keep your cars away during the washing process. Then you've got a lead capture message. This is basically just a message that tells the customer once they've completed the form. Then you've got a thank you message, which is similar. Then you've got bundle pricing. This is just an idea. You say a customer, you set a minimum threshold of services. You can set it to 2. And then if a customer books or selects that many services, they would get a certain discount. So you could set it to whatever you want, all the way from 1% to 50%. It's pretty common to set it around 5 to 10%. So if they book 2 services, they get a discount. And that's something you would want to come across in your marketing, make it clear to customers, hey, if you book multiple services, you get a discount. You also have other discounts. So these are just any random discount you could think of. So you can add a new discount here. This could be military discounts, elderly, neighborhood discounts are really popular, where you incentivize customers to get their neighbors to book with you in order to save 10%. So that's pretty straightforward. I think self-explanatory. Guide videos, also very useful. I like guide videos a lot because they explain to your customer what they need to do. It removes friction. It removes uncertainty. And, uncertainty is what usually causes people to say no or to leave. And so if we can minimize that uncertainty, then we're going to maximize our conversions. And so, you've got the option for a form intro video, pricing page video, and then a booking video. Now, you can also add guide videos to each individual service, but that would happen under the formulas page for each formula. Sales tax, pretty self-explanatory. You can toggle it on and charge it. Pricing disclaimer. This is just a cool way of telling the customer, hey, there's a chance that this price could change. We're going to review your information, contact you shortly just to make sure. Lead contact information. This is pretty basic. This is where once they've gotten their pricing info, you can toggle on the information you want. And here you've got the basic, your standard information, name, email, phone, address, a permission to contact option if you want to add that in there. A notes field, how did you hear about us? and then a lead source where you can tag them, and then an option to upload images. Then you've got the option here for property data autofill. The property data autofill is essentially a tool that it allows the user to start the form by entering their address. And then once they enter their address, it pulls data from an API with information about their property, such as how many stories, what material, and the square footage. Now this works for house washing and roof cleaning a little bit. It'll help speed up the form. It'll pre-populate so the customer doesn't have to fill it out as much if they don't know the square footage of their house. It's useful, but that's basically what that is. Then this is where you can sort of customize each of these fields. The title, call it whatever you want. Usually just leave that how it is. Then you've got location-based pricing. This is essentially where you set a threshold, like you set your service radius, say 20 miles, 30 miles. If anyone outside of that radius books, you charge an additional fee. And then the way that fee is set up depends how you set it here. So first you set your service area. So you say, I don't know, 30 miles. Now you've got your distance fee type. You can either charge a fixed dollar per amount per mile, or you can charge a percentage of the quote per mile. Fixed dollar is pretty straightforward. That would be, say you charge $10 per mile. They're 10 miles out of your range, you charge an extra $100. A percentage of the quote is a bit more complicated. This is where you say, I don't know, let's say we set it at 2% of the quote. The quote's $100. This would basically be $2 per mile. So if they're, 10 miles, it'd be an extra $20. If they're 20 miles, it'd be an extra $40, essentially. And you can set it all the way up to 5% per mile. So again, if it's a $100 job, which it's, really small, but it'd be an additional $5 per mile if it were, $100. If it were $1,000, it'd be an additional $50 per mile. So you can see how that can be a little bit more complex. Then you've got the meta conversion tracking. This is useful if you are running Facebook ads. When you go in and set up your Facebook ads, this allows you to do more tracking and create more advanced campaigns. And that's it, guys. That's the overview of the Logic page. That's everything that's included. Again, there are videos covering each of these topics individually on the knowledge base. So if you want to learn more about each individual topic, go there. Or you can fill out the contact support option, ask any particular questions you have, and then we'll make a video answering your questions for you. So thanks for watching, guys. If you made it this far, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.